The state of one particular union got a shout out in the president's address to Congress this week. President Biden emphasized his support for the United Auto Workers Union and reminded Americans that he joined them on the picket line when workers were striking last year. Now Biden's plans to tout that union support on the road. And joining us now is United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain. Welcome to the table, my friend. It's good to have you having the conversation this morning.
Appreciate you having me, yeah.
We're so happy to have you here. There had been a reticence on the part of UAW to endorse President Biden. I'm curious what you can tell me about the conversation you had with him that helped you come around on that.
Well, it wasn't so much the conversation, it's really the actions, and that was one thing we made clear when we took over, and when I took over as president, that our endorsements were going to be earned, no longer just freely given and not just a party affiliation. They were going to be earned by the candidates. And so, there was some disappointment up front when I took over. I think, people expected us just to make an endorsement right away, but to me, there was work to be done. We had a EV battery transition, an industry in transition. That there was
electric
a lot of
vehicles.
Yeah. So a lot of work that needed to be done in that realm, so that workers weren't left behind. And then, obviously we had our contract campaign. A lot of work coming up with the Big Three fight, and we had a lot of conversations throughout. But at the end of the day, when we made this decision, we had to look at. This was a simple decision for us because when we put both candidates side by side, and in our Big Three campaign, we used facts. The fact that corporations had made $250 billion and workers were being left behind. The facts that CEOs raised their pay 40% over 4 years while workers were going backwards. And so when we looked at the presidential endorsement, we did the same thing. We put two candidates side by side, and we used facts. And the facts tell a very telling picture for working class people and for our members in general. If you go back to the recession in 08, 09, Donald Trump blamed the auto workers for what was wrong with the companies. Joe Biden bet on the American worker and gave us a path forward. If you go to 2015, when Trump was a candidate for president, he talked about doing a rotation of our jobs in this country, rotating our good-paying jobs in the Midwest somewhere else where they would pay less and have us begging for our jobs back at lower pay, driving a race to the bottom. And you had in 19, when Trump was president, GM was on strike for 40 days. Mm-hmm. What did Donald Trump say or do to support the workers then? Zero. Lordstown Assembly Plant was slated for closure in Ohio in 2019 when Trump was president. He did nothing. Joe Biden, when he was president, and we were on strike in 2023. For the first time in our history, a sitting president joined the picket line. Belvedere Assembly Plant in Illinois, the same situation as Lordstown in Ohio, was closed. The community was written off for dead. Joe Biden engaged us and went to work for us to bring that and revive that company. And we have two plants going in there now. So when you compare those things, when you look at the president talking about working class people, when you look at him talking about not cutting Social Security, not cutting Medicare, Donald Trump every year of his presidency pushed for cuts to Medicare and Social Security. When you look at all those things, it draws a very distinct picture. Joe Biden has a history of serving people and standing with working class people, and Donald Trump has a history of serving himself and standing for the billionaire class.
President Fain, as you are talking, it just really strikes me that, we sit around tables like this all the time. Sometimes they're a little bigger. And people talk about what's not breaking through, what the American people can and cannot feel, how the administration needs to sell or not sell their policies. But what I just heard you say is that working class people in this country, union workers, members of the United Auto Workers, they have been listening for a very long time.
You bet. I mean, and to me, we just have to focus on facts. And this is the problem. As I say this often, Trump's a con man. I mean, he likes to tell people what they want to hear, and he'll say anything to get a result that he wants. But at the end of the day, we have to look at facts. And the facts are very clear. If we look at the body, this isn't my opinions, what I just said to you all. These are these men.
I mean, there's statements that
in their own
we can
words
call
and their
up.
own actions. And so to me, we have to get working class people focused on reality and facts.
Let's open that up a little bit, because I know there's a number of important pushes that you want to make in your leadership, and one of them being which some are characterizing as a big gamble by labor to unionize every U.S. auto plant going forward. I want to talk a little bit about that, but the other aspect of the endorsement piece, I've heard a number of folks say, well, that's just the leadership. The rank and file are going to be with Trump. The rank and file are going to they're going to go opposite of the leadership. Is that really how these things play themselves out, or is there obviously people get to make their own choices in the voting booth, and endorsement by the union as a whole is one thing, and what the rank and file do may be something different. But you do have, almost sort of a competition against interest, if you will, in light of what you just said, and the goal of the union to expand its opportunities and reach so that every American, working American, in an auto plant has the same kind of, level up representation. That's going to resonate with the rank and file more so than an endorsement piece.
Yeah, and so, look, when we make our endorsements, let me make this clear: we're not telling our members who they're going to vote for. I mean, we're taking facts and taking the body of work and telling our members, look, we look at these things. This is the person that we believe is going to represent our interests the best and represent working class interests the best. And yes, there are going to be members in our union that are going to vote for Trump. That's going to happen. But I will tell you, without a doubt, the majority, a big majority of our members will support President Biden. And I believe, as was a testament in our Big Three strike, our Big Three contract campaign, 75% of Americans supported us in that fight. And I believe there's a reason why, because those are issues that matter to all Americans, regardless if you're a union or not. These are the issues that matter. And so when you look at who represents those issues, and it's very clear Joe Biden stands more, his vision and his life of serving is more aligned with those issues than Donald Trump. So, yes, there are going to be members that vote for Trump, but by far it will not be even close to a majority.
Can we talk just a little bit about electric vehicles and sort of the tension between wanting to get to a place where there are more electric vehicles on the road, but also needing the infrastructure in place so that you can actually pull that off? I mean, were there assurances that you received from the president to make sure that your goals could actually align when it came to EVs?
I mean, so look, when I took over as president, to me, the EV industry was, it was driving a race to the bottom. That's just where it was. We had workers in Ultium in Ohio that was one of the first battery plants open, and they were starting out at $16.50 an hour. And after 7 years, we're going to top out at $20 an hour. I mean, it's poverty wages. And so, our mission was to turn that around and bring it up to our standards. So wherever this industry goes, we want it to be at a living standard, and with good paying jobs. So it has to be a just transition. And so, but yes, there's a lot of work to be done. So we communicated that from day one with the White House. That look, the UAW has always stood for a clean environment. And you go back 54 years ago, in 1970, our president at that time, Leonard Woodcock, was speaking about the combustible engine and how it was poisoning the environment. This isn't new. But naturally, our concern is just in this transition, we have to do it the right way. The infrastructure needs to be in place. People aren't going to embrace it until that infrastructure is there because, let's face it, if you're going to go on vacation and travel 1,000 miles with your kid, you're not going to want to stop and spend 7 hours charging your vehicle. You could pull into a gas station in 5 minutes, you're back on the road. So there are things to be worked out there. And we've communicated that a lot. And the White House has worked very, very well with us in that. And they've listened to us. And, we've worked with the Department of Energy, and there's still a lot of conversation ongoing. But, we're not going to run from it. We have to embrace it. And we have to make sure that whatever the transition looks like, that working class people aren't left behind.
Shawn Fain, United Auto Workers president. Will you let us know whenever you're in town so you can come sit with us?
Oh, sure
at the
thing.
table?
No, I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.